All right, take it away.
All right. Thanks, Christy, for having me on. So I wanted to go over forming, and I know it's really difficult topic for a lot of people because so a lot of us are behind the computer screen and not always talking face to face with people, and we don't always know what to say because a lot of times these people might be strangers. So forming, I think it's always a good topic to review, to go over, even if you've been a coach for a little while. It's the most important step in being a Beachbody coach. It's the very first vital behavior. You go over your 3 vital behaviors. Inviting is the number one behavior, and they say it 3 times because it's important. There's all different ways that you can invite. Some of it's inviting on your social media posts, but inviting is so much of it is done in forming a relationship with people. So it's good to go over this. In order to invite, you have to form, right? So that's the most important part. And form really just means to build a relationship. When you first start forming, it may not be that difficult in the beginning when you first start as a coach. You have this whole warm market that you're exposed to, which is your friends, your family, and others, other people you already have relationships with. You're already friends on Facebook. They have a little bit of trust built in with you from following you. So it might not be that difficult at first. You're talking about things that you already have in common with these people. So that's sort of in the beginning. And then that's kind of what I experienced when I first started as a coach. Forming just kind of came organically in the beginning with my current Facebook friends. But when you start looking at your cold market, now these are people that you might not know at all, that can be harder to form with. These are people who are like friends of your friends, maybe people you knew in college and haven't talked to in 10 or 12 years, people you don't know that well, or people you might not even know at all. As your friend requesting and adding these people to your friends, to your network, you should also be in the process of forming. Before you ever invite them to do anything, before you invite them to a challenge group or to do any of your free groups, you really want to be forming with them. One way that you're forming a relationship with them is letting those people see things about your life via your social media posts. So that's part of your forming. Or you're kind of helping them get to know you in a sense. Your post should be, about you, showing not just about what you do as a Beachbody coach, but kind of who you are, what your interests are, what you like to do outside of your job, things like that. And I know cold market inviting can be informing, can be intimidating, but I promise you with practice, and as long as you have belief in this opportunity, it does come easier, and it really helps you grow your business and helps you get to know and help a lot more people. So the bottom line is this is a relationship business. I mean, people think right away that this is a sales job, but it's really not a sales job at all. At least that's not how I look at it. We're here to get to know people and help people, and that's the bottom line. And that's really why forming is so important. Building relationships with people is going to foster that trust and with them and really get them to understand where you're coming from and where your intentions are. If you're not honestly interested in a person that you're beginning to form with or that you're talking to online, it's probably not someone, that you really want to be working with from the get-go. So you have to keep that in mind. You're looking to connect with that person that's in your dream market. This is the person that you're getting good vibes from what you're seeing on their page, or kind of someone you want to work with, and build this business with. If you, I lost my place here. I just believe that if you treat this as the opportunity to make friends, people will feel that you're being genuine. So some of the things I do is I message those people that like my pics or my posts on Facebook. It's really as simple as starting there. Obviously, you guys are sharing common interests. If they're liking your post, if they're liking what you're putting out there, part of who you are, because that's what you should be showing on your social media platform. And when they do like your picture or your post, make sure you're going to check out their page, that you're not just messaging them, without knowing a little bit about that person. I try to at least spend like a minute or two on their page and kind of scroll through their timeline so that we have some things to talk about too that I can bring up with them. Maybe like a hobby that I see that I can relate to them with, or, maybe if they're a parent, I can comment on a picture about their children. Build a relationship just by being honest and sharing that part of you and having that communication with them. Another thing that I've done lately, especially since I've been dabbling in my cold market, is to get involved with interest groups on Facebook. So these are other mom groups. I even have a Firewife group that I'm involved in. There was a pregnancy group that I was involved in, a breastfeeding group. I'm using that market to connect with people, and I've been networking with them. So, adding 3 to 5 new people every day from those interest groups on Facebook and connecting with them so that we have common interests. I'm even finding that I have to slow down with friend requesting in those particular groups, because I will, I'm worried about Facebook like blocking me from friend requesting, because everyone's accepting my friend request. So, they look and they're like, oh, well, we're in this group together. So they accept. So I don't want to friend request too many people. So, 3 to 5 I try to do a day, and also so that I can keep track of those 3 to 5 people that I'm friend requesting, and I'm also putting them in a separate group so that I can keep track and continue to form relationships with them. So I find that 3 to 5 people is doable for me right now, and that's where I've been going to lately, getting involved in those interest groups. And I'm not just, friend requesting them. I'm also posting in those groups, because these are things that interest me, breastfeeding. And those are just examples that's kind of coming from where I'm at in my life after having a baby. I really want to get to know those women too, and feel connected to them. And we share those common bonds already. So it doesn't really feel uncomfortable to friend request them. And every time I do get somebody that accepts my friend request, I don't message anybody that doesn't accept my friend request. So that's important to note too. I don't just automatically start messaging everyone in my breastfeeding support group. I'm waiting for them to accept my friend request. And that's when I send a personal message. And I kind of just break the ice, saying, hey, so-and-so, thanks for accepting my friend request. I love connecting with new people on Facebook. I see we have some friends in common, and we both are in the June 2015 breastfeeding support group. It's really nice to meet you and connect with you. And most people are, okay with a message like that. They're like, oh yeah, that's right, you're in that group, or we're in that group together. It's nice to meet you too. And I've kind of kept it at that, and put all those new people into a group that I check in with frequently. So I separate them from just my basic news feed. And what I've been starting to do to help form a relationship, because I don't want to keep messaging them. I definitely don't want to message them about joining my challenge group and doing a 21-day fix right away, because that's, that would just be salesy. But forming a relationship is what I want to do with them. I want to know about their kids. Like, for me, having a baby that's 8 months old, like, they're hitting different milestones. We're talking about, what we're feeding our babies, and that's what I'm commenting on their, on their posts, on their, Facebook pages. So I am kind of following what's going on in their lives too, just as much as they might be following what's going on with me as well. So I know a lot of you have the fear of networking in person, but I find that I I do that a lot too, especially within my profession. I feel like a lot of my coaches tend to be nurses or have connected with that. I've connected with them at some point in our nursing career. So I don't want to not talk about face-to-face networking, because I think, we kind of have to talk about it a little bit. And I think it's definitely something that comes over time, and it's, just talking to people. I think people are just like, oh, they have this pressure that's put on themselves. Like, oh, I have to talk about the Beachbody opportunity right away if I'm talking to somebody face to face. And I don't think that's always the case. I think just forming relationships with people, like literally just putting yourself out there, helps you form new relationships with people. That's the bottom line. It's we're making new friends. So physically going somewhere and making yourself get out of the house once in a while is a great opportunity to meet people and build relationships with them. For example, I have an online Facebook breastfeeding support group, but I also physically go to one on Tuesdays. And I've made, some friends. I know Crystal's on the call. She's one of my friends that I've made in this group had I had not gone out of my comfort zone and went to this group. Now, do I always talk about Beachbody when I'm at the group? No, but I'm building relationships with people, and I can talk about that on my social media and talk to other people in the groups. And it's always the people that you least expect to be doing like a Beachbody program that are doing it. So, sometimes you don't even know if that person sitting next to you is doing P90X3 at home, which has happened to me. And we talk about it later after forming relationships. So I think it's important to remember that wherever you are, whether it's at a breastfeeding group or if it's at the grocery store, just turning around and smiling at somebody or saying, oh my God, your hair is really pretty, or, where do you get it done? Just forming relationships with people. And it doesn't mean that you don't have to say, before you walk away, oh, I'd love to connect with you again. Or, do you have Facebook? Who doesn't have Facebook these days? It's like a typical question you can ask anybody, and that's not salesy and that's not awkward if you're having that, right conversation with somebody. And just feel free to stop me if you guys have any questions at any time. So I want to stress that by starting to talk to more people, don't be afraid to just talk to anybody. That was really hard for me in the beginning, and I think at this point I just believe so passionately in this opportunity that I don't get out much. I try to get out more, but I have an 8-month-old and 3 girls, so I don't get out as much as I'd like to. But when I do, I try to make the most of it. So you can keep that into perspective too. So taking time to look at other people's Facebook pages as well. Don't just friend request anybody and everybody. Make sure that you're taking the time to look and see that you have common things in common. If you're just going off of the Facebook friends that Facebook tells you have in common. Now, yes, you have friends that are in common, but I also am selective about who I want to friend request. I feel like there are enough people out there in this world that I can be a little more selective. And even though Facebook's telling me to like these people, I kind of take the time to look at their page. Sometimes they end up being a Beachbody coach. If I hadn't clicked on their page, I might have not known that. So don't forget to put that into perspective too. Take the time to look at their page. So forming, for me, you can break it down. For me, I kind of been doing this a little bit longer, so I kind of already know what forming is all about, but it's nice to take it for what it is and break it down a little bit. So it helps you remember what you kind of want to talk to everybody about when you do begin that conversation with people. And the F stands for family. So for me, I tend to attract moms or nurses because I am both of those. So I tend to talk to people about their children. People love talking about their children. I mean, who doesn't like to hear oh, your kid's so cute? And you're like, I know, he's so cute. Everyone loves that and loves to hear about their kids. So I feel like that's always a good place to start if the other person, if you're a mom, if that's something that, the other person has children. It's always a great icebreaker. People love to talk about what's going on in their kids' lives. And And so family, so you can talk about anything. You could use, anything about family. You could use their children to talk about their profession, like, so do your kids go to daycare, or do you stay, they might have stay-at-home mom on their profile. So then you can, talk about that and talk about what you do a little bit, but maybe you work as a nurse, outside the house 2 days a week, and a fitness coach, or a health coach. You can say those kinds of things without being salesy too. Or maybe you want to ask them about what their spouse does, and that can get you right into, which is for occupation. So they kind of flow organically back and forth together, but just a good way to remember to, maybe start talking about their family. And then occupation, what they do as a profession, ask about their jobs, what do they like about their jobs? What do they hate about their jobs? What would they want to change about their jobs? Anything that they would like to try before they die, what's on their bucket list, those kinds of things. When it comes to occupation, people, a lot of times dream of doing something else, even though they like their jobs. They just think that it's not their dream job. So people like to talk about that stuff too. Or asking them what they do at their job. Oh, really? You're an occupational therapist? What does that even mean? Things like that, because people are educated in their field. So I like to learn new things too. I mean, that's I've always been, that's why I'm a nurse. I learn something new all the time. So you can try talking about those kinds of things, and that's a good way to remember occupation. So then recreation, another R's for recreation. What do they do for fun, like in their spare time? Are they into running? Are they into tennis? Do they go to concerts? Are they in other moms groups? Where do they go on vacation? Like, those are things that just come to my mind on recreation. Or what they do with their kids, for fun, for, play groups, hobbies, those kinds of things. So see how they all kind of organically flow together, but you don't need to talk about one versus the other. You can talk about them all at the same time. And the M finally stands for message. So you're sharing your message to them, whether it be a potential challenger or coach, what kind of message you're trying to get across. You're there to help them on their journey. So that's the ultimate message you want to get across. But again, you kind of had to feel it out and see, when's the appropriate time to talk about those, fitness coaching plugs. You really have to kind of go with the conversation and see where things are going before you can just say, hey, I have a challenge group starting tomorrow. Are you in or are you out? Like, it doesn't always work like that. You have to feel out the person's personality. Some people are just asking for you to give them more information. Oh, yeah, I saw you do this thing online. Like, what's that all about? Some people will never mention it until you start talking about maybe clean eating or, something that's not forcing them to do something. They want to know that you're just not trying to get money from them, and that you're not just another sale, because right there looking at you like you're doing a pyramid scheme, and this is all, you trying to get money from them. I mean, I think that's what I thought in the beginning. I'm like, this is probably the biggest scam, but I'm going to do it anyways. So, oh well, like, I'm going to spend my money on it and I'll probably get scammed, but that's what it is, But then obviously I was talking to Chrissy and I knew her intentions were genuine, and I could honestly, feel that. Like, she really wanted, and believe me, I messaged her all the time. I was like, I don't know what to eat. Like, give me a meal. Like, she was giving me a meal plan. I mean, she was telling me like ridiculous. And like, I knew right away that wasn't what she was about. Her messages were genuine, and we talked like we were old friends, and even though we hadn't talked in a very long time. So, after forming, obviously the next step would be inviting. We could do a separate call on inviting, so I won't get too much into that. But like I said, like, if you already know these people, you've already built a relationship with them, maybe you can invite them right away to a free group. It really just depends I try not to invite right away. I try to go off my gut feeling and get to know them as much as I can, talk about their families. I mean, it's a process. It takes a while. And I know people are like, oh, they keep telling me no. I've had coaches tell me no for over a year and they still join. I have challengers that told me no for a year and they still end up doing it. So, and I feel like the biggest advice I can give you is to not give up, but don't always give up so easily on people because they might surprise you and they probably need you more than you think they do. Especially if you're forming a relationship with them and building a relationship with them. So that's all I got. If you guys have any questions, let me know.
I have questions.
Okay.
That was awesome. So I really like the idea of the groups, the interest groups, because you know, you're already in there with a similar interest. So you already have a platform of something to talk about. So you don't necessarily friend someone from the group that you've talked with in the group, right? You'll just friend them because they're in the group.
Right. Yep. I'm friends with everyone that I've obviously messaged or talked in the group with, but yeah, I literally go to the group and I click on members and I just hit friend request, because we all have things in common. I feel like we already are going to relate just fine, and these are people from like all over the country, which now I have access to their friends too, so people in Texas, Alabama,
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be people from the Northeast, and that kind of helps broaden your network too.
All right, this is probably everyone. Nobody roll your eyes at me. How do you find these groups? I know you can use the bar, but like, is there a way to search? Like, did you just put in breastfeeding moms group or? Because like for me, it's like, okay, if I was I actually was like, you know what, we should have a baby because I would have so many women. Like I could be in a pregnancy group, then I can be in a new moms group, a breastfeeding group, right? I'm like, what am I going to talk to somebody who has a 10-year-old about? Like, oh, are they staying up late? Yeah, my kid too. All right, but so for me to find. No,
but you could do like karate moms. Like, doesn't Noah play karate? Do karate?
Yeah. Okay.
Like, there's tons of things, like, just from me knowing you that, like, you could, Sophia's, like, spelling, like, I don't know, maybe.
Moms?
Yeah, like.
Dance moms.
Don't laugh because there is something for everyone. And it's something. It's on Facebook.
Dance moms, maybe. Because you'd want to, like, not be in a, when I was sitting here thinking of my interests, I'm like, okay, well, I'm interested in healthy recipes. So is every other Beachbody coach. Like all my interests besides my kids. So yeah, it's like a mom group, maybe more specific to something my kids are doing.
Yeah. My computer's freezing, so I'm not sure if I heard you all of it, but that's kind of what I did. I wrote down like my interests or what kind of like is important to me right now and kind of just been searching for groups I got lucky because obviously I just had a baby. So that's a big part of my life right now. And there's so many people in that group right now that I really, my network is growing from that. But I was just on a call, the New England Diamond or Northeast Diamond call with Alyssa Shoemaker. That's Shoemaker. She's number 8 in the company. And she said, don't complicate it, like networking. Like your whole business is built in the trenches. And I feel like every top coach has been saying that. Like everything is built behind the scenes and it's all based on forming. And they literally will go in that bar, like you said, and type in, you can really type this stuff in, people who like skiing in Cumberland, Rhode Island, you can type that in. You can also go to pages like, for example, if you're really into makeup, like me, you can go to Sephora, like their like page, and see who's like on that page and commenting on that page. And then you can click on those people from, you can't really do it like you do for like I can for the pregnancy groups, because it's different. Like I'm in a group, so you can see all of the members of the group, versus like a like page, you have to like scroll on the page and see who's commenting and kind of friend request that way. But that would be a common interest, just as an example. Or like you could take, moms of karate or firewives. I could message a bunch of women that are posting on that particular like page. So there are other ways other than just typing in the bar, like trying to search for pages. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I just think it's, I heard this idea way back when I started, and it's one of those things that I like searched one time, one night, and I was like, forget this. I can't find any group where I belong. Like, I only tried like one time, like in a moment. So, but it's such a good idea because, like you said, it's a huge network of people that it has already been narrowed down a little bit for you. It's already like you've already weeded out, like, oh, are they a mom? Aren't they? Are they, like, so I bet there's like an occupational therapist moms group, a teacher mom.
Oh, there definitely is.
What I mean? Yeah, like whatever grade you teach, like very specific,
And I've heard this from a top coach before too, and I brushed it off. And I promise you, like, if you want to grow your business faster, that you have to form relationships with people. Like, there is no way around it. So get in these groups now. Don't even bother wasting your time. Like, your warm market is going to go cold. It's just what happens to all of us. So you have to network with people. And that should be part of it's like legitimately part of the joy of this whole thing. Like, I get to meet a lot of new people. So if you look at it like that, like you're just making friends with new people. Not everyone's going to be, your next coach, but someone might be. You don't know. So I find that that's the best way to form, is just really going out there and meeting people, whether it's on your networking or in face-to-face.
Yeah. And the best, you have to, we're looking for us too. Your best coach is going to be the most like you, because you guys are going to relate, so you're already narrowing down weeding through a lot of people. If you're in a group that that shares, the people in there share your interests. So, yeah, that's just, I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to find one group tonight and get in it. I won't friend anybody tonight. I'll wait till tomorrow.
Oh, do it.
I'll give them 24 hours. And then, I think what was key was you said, I find this works too. You break the ice as soon as they accept. And I just think a few things happen. I think, number one, you show yourself as a leader, so that when you come to them later as a leader, hey, I'm leading this group. They already, have seen you show that side of you, and show that you are comfortable with yourself and you have a confidence. The first person that says hello, doesn't that happen like in person? Like you see somebody and then you're like, are they going to say hi? So where you said in person, right? Like, that's one thing I've worked on in person. I say hello. If I see someone I know, I walk up and say hello, wherever it is, unless I'm in a really bad mood, and then I hide, because, like, I'm not going to say, I'm going to be like, hi, So, like, one day out of 30, sometimes I do hide. But other than that, it's a good thing to work on. Like, what Amanda was saying about just talking to somebody in the grocery line. Are you recruiting that person? No, but it's working on your skills, your people skills, and your ability to talk to somebody and to connect with somebody. Every time you do that, you're practicing. So yeah, like where you where they accept your friend request and you right away are outgoing and friendly. You're showing this confidence and you're showing a strength that most people don't have. Most people hide. Most people don't have that confidence. So that right there is really, you know, setting the relationship off on the best foot possible. And then when you show yourself as a leader, whenever that is, and you say, hey, want to do this free group? They already see that about you. They already feel that about you. They already have you as this confident person, and it kind of just goes with that. It's like, oh, all right. And then I really liked too where you said, because sometimes I get a little hung up, even I with like messaging. I have to like remind myself that I'm not like writing a letter, like that I'm just messaging. And I like that you said like one example, oh, you're a occupational therapist, or you're this or that. What does that even mean? Like, I like that. I like that wording, you know, because it puts it right back on them, and it kind of like gives them the driver's seat too, where it's like, tell me about it. So I wrote that down. I'm going to use that. What does that even mean?
Something I say all the time.
Yeah, I like that. Because I get like,
you kind of gotta like make it yours too, you know, like show your part of your personality. Like, you know, Candace, she's just so, she's Candace, you know what I mean? Like you can tell it just, her personality is just different. And you just have to make sure that you're not trying to be somebody that you're not, because that's going to show up later, you know, like your posts and everything you say, don't overthink it. I know like a lot of people will spend all this time and they'll be like, oh, I don't know what to post today or whatever. Like, what do I say to this person? Like, literally just be yourself, because that's what people are going to connect to anyways.
Yeah.
I find like that's really helpful. Like tonight I was really like buying makeup, and I was like, no, I'm obsessed with buying makeup right now, so I need to write about it. And that's, people might call me shallow, but it's me, you know, like I never leave the house without one piece of makeup on. So.
Yeah, but it's actually exactly why we all do this, because who you have to be for this to really blow up is you. Because you're not talking to everybody. You're not talking to that person that's gonna be like, she's shallow, I don't wear any makeup. You're not looking for her. You know, you guys aren't going to, is that girl gonna be a Beachbody coach? Maybe, but not with you. Right. You know, like you're looking for someone that can relate to that too, and is like, yeah, like I love makeup too. Where'd you get that? You know, because that's who you're gonna click with. So, maybe we could join a makeup group.
I love makeup.
I want a older with long hair group. Do you think there is one?
You're reaching.
I feel like it's going to be like men, like metalheads, like. I'm going to be like, wrong group, I'm out. Oh, and one thing I was going to say too with that, what does that even mean? I do find like, so I try to make sure whatever I'm writing sounds like talking. And when I'm bad at it, when I'm having an off day, I will use, not the record, like sometimes I record my voice, but I have to be in like a super, super chipper mood for that. But I'll use a little thing where you talk to text, and I'll talk to text in the message, and then that translates like I'm talking, because I am. So that will help me too.
I forgot about that. I've used that message on the Facebook Messenger. You know, where you record yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think people find it personal.
Yeah.
A couple of times. Sometimes
they're even like, oh my gosh, how'd you do that? You know, like even if they're just caught by surprise, you get a reaction, because it's like, oh, how'd you do that? You know, they think you're like a magician. You're like, you have it too. Just hit the.
Yeah.
But I like that for follow-ups. I like to use that little record, because we've already chatted, and you know, I don't like to use it at first. I don't like to be like, hey, thanks for accepting my friend request, Chrissy here. You know, like I feel like it might be a little bit much, but some people could pull it off. I can't. Like I'm not smooth. I wasn't made that way, but it is a good feature. Let me see. I'm just reading my notes. Friend, break the ice. I think that's everything I had. Oh yeah, and really important too, where you said message everybody that likes your posts. So do you mention that when you message them? Are you like, oh hey, I noticed you liked my post, and do you say that they liked your post when you message, or?
Sometimes it depends on if I've never talked to them before or where we are in our forming, like, maybe I'll say like, if they liked my post about, something about our kids, if I'm posting about my kids, I'll say, oh, do you do that too? Or do you find that that's difficult too? Or, isn't that crazy that, I have to run to the bus stop? Like, can you believe that? Like, what do you do? Like, what helps you,
Yeah.
Maybe I'll message them with that, or if they comment on my post too, I'll comment there and maybe message them privately too as well. Say that you're getting both. But yeah, if I don't really have a relationship with them yet, maybe I usually do like lead with that. Oh, thanks for liking my post today. And go on the theme of that particular post, like the content of that, something about related to that.
Raise your hand if I messaged you when you liked my post. One more. Yes, Jen. I did.
She's telling people that it was you.
Jen talked to me a while later, but I was like in that mode right around that time, and I've gotten away from it. I mean, I do it still, but I was like, I did it every single day. I messaged whoever liked my post, and this is the time of the year to do it. So if you're gonna commit to the messaging, like to up it at all, this is the time of year, because everybody's like, all right, okay, fine, so I think I didn't have any other questions. We can check out did anybody else have any questions? Oh, look at that. Susan found some groups. Oh yeah, no, Matt would have 10 kids. He would. Oh yeah. Right.
Hells yeah.
Maybe not 10 anymore, but.
I don't know where to put them, but.
Yeah. Matt's all about the kids. Not that I'm not, but you know what I mean. It's that whole part where you have to.
Yeah, well, Matt doesn't have to.
Yes, he's not the mother.
Matt doesn't have the kids.
Right. No, the pushing out is not the problem. It's the carrying them and
the whole 9 months.
So, what was I going to say? Oh, my other announcement, sneak peek tomorrow. I am trying really hard to take the challenge given to me at the New Leaders Conference and do a coach opportunity webinar this month. It's really stressing me out. So if I do it, it's going to be, that last week of February, I think on, I don't know, probably the Wednesday or Thursday night. Oh no, Wednesday night's really bad. But anyways, it's going to be in that last week. Maybe the Thursday night, so like anybody in the sneak peek could be invited to it too. But I don't know, stay tuned for that one. My goal is to do one of those a month and a sneak peek a month. So like not 2 sneak peeks, one and then one. And I probably would do the webinar earlier and then the sneak peek at the end. And then anybody that was in the sneak peek that still didn't join, maybe the next month you could be like, listen, we have this little webinar, and then if they don't do it, you'd have the recording and you could send it to them. So I don't know, Melanie Mitro told me to do it, so I'm going to do it. But it's probably not going to be that great at first, so we'll see. But I'm going to try my best, and that's that. So that's coming down the pipe. If you have pushback from the sneak peek, then, you know, if somebody's like, oh, it's this 3 days, 3 days, or you can offer both even, you know, you could be like this or that. Were you asleep? Uh-oh. Okay. So that's coming down the pipe. But anyways, this week we have a sneak peek. So just let me know if you want to be in the sneak peek, and I'll add you in. And does anybody else have anything for Amanda? All right. Well, thank you, Amanda. I definitely got some good tips, and I knew you were, you know, I'm glad that you talked to us about this, because I know that you're good at, I don't know, you have like, you're good at like not sweating it, you know, you're just like, all right. I feel like it's definitely one of your strengths. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, good night, everybody.
Love ya.